Thank you very much, Dave. I appreciate that. You'll have mixed emotions because after I finish talking, there will be a sense of forlorn hopelessness, but also a sense of excitement. Because what I'm talking about really is how do you take your startup vision, your agility, your nimbleness, your creativity, and get it to where someone's going to pay a decent freight rate in order so that in 20 years' time you can retire to the south of France or something like that. Hands up, who is actually doing their startups purely for altruistic reasons and has no aspiration to actually be successful financially? All right, well done, that's good. At least one person in the room is honest. So, I always start with this slide because this is what's happening in large enterprises across certainly across my experience in Australia. There is a strong sense that if we keep on doing the same thing, we'll get a different outcome. And I've got to say, it's slow, it's treacly, it's difficult. They're encumbered, large organisations, banks in particular, are encumbered by huge amounts of legacy where they can't do what you guys do. They can't sort of stand up a proof of concept in a matter of minutes. They can't leverage the continuous development DevOps style technologies that are available in the cloud. They just can't because it's just too heavy. Plus they have to get, it's a consensus culture now where they have to get 100 people in a room to actually agree on whether or not it's a good idea. Now you know what that's like. And then they have to overlay the diversity cards as well. So religion, sex, sexual preference, etc., etc., etc. Try and get agreement and consensus in that sort of environment. So this is the opportunity. There are a whole heap of corporates out there who are trying to do the same thing but getting a different result. So what I want to quickly cover today, 3 simple things. There are some things you actually need to get right in order to get the opportunity to sell into and to partner with large enterprise organisations. There is opportunity around value. There are things that they're just not doing well. They talk about it, but they're just not doing it well. And this is where the opportunity exists in the market. And then I want to quickly go through what the learnings are. You're not alone. Now that's a positive and a negative. There are 4 or 5 ecosystems up there that I pulled off the interweb, and these are companies that are actually generating revenue, are actually working, are actually operating. So all of you with aspirations as a startup to go into an enterprise with a value prop, there is a queue. There is a really long queue. And it's complex. But then also, as we heard from the previous session, the opportunities are enormous. Because there's just not the ability to do what you guys can do. There's just not the opportunity to think unencumbered by organisational cultures, by business paradigms, by whatever, to do things differently. There are so many value pools, and we talk, payments is a great example. We talk about the great disintermediation that's happening in the payment space, where huge cash cow for financial services, but you've got smaller players coming in and taking a slice of the value, where the EBITDA outcome for them is phenomenally positive. Whereas the organisations that run the railway tracks for such a long time are just sort of turning the handle slowly and making a lot of money, but knowing that that value can be taken quickly. So you're not alone, but that's also a challenge because it means that when you go to breach that enterprise firewall, not a hacker, but when you breach that enterprise firewall, you've actually got to have your act together. Because there are lots of people behind that firewall that are defending traditional operating models, traditional thought processes, and actually really cool jobs with big titles and lots of people and lots of money. My favourite slide. Had to have the enterprise in it because actually Captain Kirk and his mob are very much like the senior executive team that run most large enterprise organisations. So if you can imagine in your mind that you're going to get through the various defences of the enterprise in order to land your value-creating idea, your value-creating solution, your game-changing act, you've got to get past the phases, you've got to get past all the other tricky things that happen to protect that. And here's a bit of a starter for 10. What you take must be real. Taking ideas and concepts is interesting, but taking something that actually is tangible, where you've demonstrated some form of value creation, where you've demonstrated that actually this is something that the customer is calling out. Because at the end of the day, the customer is king. Don't go anywhere near a large organisation without a validated, verified, independently endorsed security overlay on your solution. They used to say bank managers were the guys that used to say no. It's now the chief information security officers are the guys that say no. The permafrost that really stops innovation from coming externally into organisations is normally through the security area. So make sure you've gone through and worked out that your application is secure by design, that the data that feeds to and from is encrypted in such a way that it will never be compromised. Not that it's going to happen, but if you've got to be demonstrating that you've thought this through. That your APIs are locked up tight at either end and not able to be penetrated through the process of moving business logic. The data integrity piece is hugely important. And the moment you propose to push data behind the firewall of a financial service or of a regulated organisation is the moment that it becomes really complex. So publicly available information that sits in accounting packages, all those sorts of things, look to see and ensure that you can maintain the integrity of that information. And again, that it's secure by design, and how you work that is secure by design. It's got to be scalable. One, because if we're talking about every bank in this country has 12 million customers. Not that we have 48 million people in Australia, but they all have 12 million customers. So they're going to want to, if this is a game-changing idea, if this is going to make their customers sticky, if this is going to add value, new revenues, etc., they want to know that they can scale it. They want to know that they can push it down their 700 or 800 branch distribution network, push it into their 15,000 sales and operating folks. Integration is really important. Your ability to tell the story of integration, your ability to talk about the light touch that your solution provides. Again, it's secure, the data is, there's high levels of data integrity, you can watch the flows to and from. You've also tied into that next point around testing. You've tested it, you've tested it, you've tested it. Now, you're already going to be put through a fairly heavy regime of tests in order to get your particular solution operationalised and into production. But you've got to be on that front foot around, yes, of course it's tested. These are the delivery trains that we're utilising. These are the methods that we're utilising. These are the tools that demonstrate the integrity of the code through the process. This is the package that we're giving you. Compliance and regulatory. Don't go into a large organisation with a really, really great idea if you haven't done the homework around the law that determines how that idea can be converted into revenue for the customer that you're trying to work into. After the security guy, the legal guy will be your worst enemy if you haven't done the due diligence around that. And Australia is as a marketplace, is probably one of the most highly regulated marketplaces in the world, which is why we probably dodged a few bullets around some economic crises. But you've got to understand what laws are governing the operation of the business. Privacy was mentioned before around the virtual reality piece. Be all over that if there's any customer data that may fall into that remit around the Privacy Act. I'm working with a couple of startups, and the thing that amazes me is what can be created off the back of a one-pager. It won't cut it as you're trying to breach the firewall. Make sure your documentation is of a standard that allows traceability, allows easy review, so that the other people that tend not to be as helpful in organisations, the architects and the solution architects, who whenever anything is introduced into the enterprise is going, well, I could have thought of that. Well, guess what? Had they could have thought of that, they would have thought of that, and they haven't thought of that, which makes you a threat. So make sure your documentation is really tight, really specific, and of a high quality. I put SDKs there because actually you'll be confronted by the organisation that says, okay, that's a really good idea, I can do that, I'm actually going to do that, and the relationship that you frame is actually putting in a foundational set of capabilities that then evolve behind the firewall. Give them the tools to do that, and there's another point which I'll talk to a bit longer around the commercial construct. Make sure you protect your IP. So the SDKs will be able to allow them to manufacture or vary what the solutions are in their very complex environments. Never lose sight of the fact that what you're doing at speed, 5 or 6, 10 drops a day, doesn't happen across the board in enterprise. Service excellence, we talk about the digital economy, we talk about it being 6 nines, we talk about it 24/7, 365. Make sure you've got a service delivery model that actually gives real integrity to what you're putting into that environment. Because the thing that will stop the CIO from signing off on it is actually if you haven't demonstrated the ability to understand that if there is a customer failure and it's as a result of what you've introduced into it, then everyone looks bad. The commercial model is really, really important. I was with a firm I was advising, and we were walking into the room, and I just picked up the information there, and I said, "So what is your charge model?" And they said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, what if you get asked, this is a really good solution, we want to buy it, how much?" And they hadn't thought it through. So you've got to be really diligent around how you think about your cost model. You've actually got to work out where your break-even point, what level of volume you need. And remember, we're talking as a service. We're talking, by the drink, we're talking consumption-based. So make sure you've got your metering on so that you can actually collect revenue as a result of the value that you're creating in the back end of the enterprise. Now, you'll always get pushback. "Oh no, we can't possibly afford that." If you have thought through the value creation, if you've done the hard work around the business case, and you can get enough information in the public domain to actually create your own business case to take in as a value proposition, then you'll have a much better chance. The last point, I think, is probably the most important. There are a lot of executives that sit below the permafrost in organisations who fill their day up meeting with people like you because actually not much else for them to do. They have no delegated financial authority. They have no input into strategy. They have no ability to actually give you approval to engage with the broader enterprise. Find the right person. Find the decision maker. Find the person that has the budget. Find the person that has the problem. And I don't know if I'm sure none of you have had the experience where you've spent 3 or 4 visits taking someone through the technology, taking them through the opportunity, taking them through the value proposition, that the value can be created for that organisation, only to find out that they sit 8 levels down. Because they're never going to help you. They're really helpful people. They're lovely people. But you've got to try and navigate. Where is the decision maker? And unfortunately, and I talk from a banking perspective, unfortunately that tends to sit at the EGM general manager layer. Because they're the guys that have the money, they're the guys that have the budget, they're the guys that actually can help you out. Now, as far as, if we can just go to the next slide with that. This is where the value sits. This is a slide out of MIT around exploiting digital opportunities. Incumbent organisations with lots of legacy have got fantastic analogue solutions. They're amazing. They've got more than you could ever imagine. What they lack is that digital innovation. And you would hear about now, University of South Wales appointing a chief digital officer. Organisations appointing chief digital officers, digital strategies being flavour of the month. But this is where their need absolutely sits around what are the digital solutions, what are the opportunities. Now, to me, a digital solution can plug in because not many of them will be born with the legacy that sits in old core systems or old ERPs. So this slide is really just, and I know they're available later, this is really just about saying, okay, if you want to go after value and opportunity in order to breach, have all these other things lined up to breach the firewall, this is the space that you need to be playing. Because ultimately, Robert, if we go to the next slide, you want to breach the enterprise. You want to get into the organisation. And again, what I described in that shopping list is the things that you need to be doing. That if you don't do, you might have the best solution, the best value creation opportunity, the best startup ever on the planet. But as someone pointed out, they're more interested in the big players. Now, I see a phase that's going to occur, and I think we're at a tipping point where there'll be a lot more startups with innovative ideas that comply with those rules or those lists, and will be able to be plugged in, because the pace of demand from the customer is now king, is moving at such a speed that the larger organisations are struggling to keep up. So what have we learned? Okay, none of what I've just said is easy. It's really hard. And so your tenacity and passion and desire to be an entrepreneurial startup person that creates amazing solutions that can sell those into enterprises, it's going to be really, really hard. The digital piece, I think, is where you can play. You play with the view, and the comment was made earlier today, adopt, adapt, exploit, but with the horizontal application of your solutions being able to solve multiple use cases. And that's the other point that I should have put up. Have real use cases for when you go in and have the conversations. Demonstrate an understanding of what the pain points are, what the friction points are in the enterprise, because that gives you credibility at the table. There will be strong resistance. It's called the permafrost that I mentioned. There will be strong resistance. You've got to actually be able to demonstrate what's in it for the enterprise architect, what's in it for the security guy, what's in it for the executive general manager who's not got that source of revenue at the moment, but will be a champion when they do. So think about it from that perspective. The next point is really about that service delivery, always on. Don't be frightened about challenging the operating model. It comes back to Einstein. Doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Actually, I think in the next 18 to 24 months, you'll see significant operating model changes in enterprises that are trying to go after value. Because, and it will be about how they digitise, the utilisation of robots, the way in which they source in order to protect margin. I mean, banking financial services, interest rates at 1.5, there is huge downward pressure on net interest margin. And the only way to ease that is either to get lower costs or find other revenue streams with higher margin. And that's what they'll be looking for, because that's what the investors are looking for from a share market perspective. The regulation piece, again, they're not going away. You have to adapt and you'll have to understand. But again, getting on the front foot and demonstrating that you do understand is probably the most powerful thing that you can do. Because again, you're empathetic, you're walking a mile in the shoes of the person that's buying. You may not initially feel that you're being loved and wanted, but I can assure you, in 80% of the cases, you are absolutely needed. So be quixotic about the way in which you attack that windmill, because the shareholders of those organisations will thank you very much. The final dot point is don't go broke doing it. So make sure you've lined up your investors, the Series A, Series B guys. Make sure you've got real plans. Make sure that you've got the right ideas and the right financial horizons, because ultimately you want to be successful. Here ends the lesson. Are there any questions?